castle, and this is where everything, Mother Angelica wanted to keep it 13th century architectural design, just like the temple, which is, if you go to Assisi, that's what it looks like. And then if you come down here, the castle reminds you of the knights and also defending the faith and all that. So that's what the castle in there. Inside there is our gift shop, and then they have places where the talks for the big groups that we get, and then downstairs the people can eat. Inside this is a life-size crush scene, so you can go see that on your way out. But it's just life-size, and Mother always wanted people to be able to enjoy Christmas all year round. So you can go in there. They have Christmas music singing. Also, if you need holy water, you can get it in there too. It was started in Mother Angelica went to Bogota, Colombia in around 95, and she was spreading the word EWTN. She founded EWTN in 1981, and she was spreading trying to get the Spanish feed going over in Bogota, Colombia. And then she went to the place where the Divino Niño is at, and little baby Jesus came alive, and he turned towards her, and he asked her to build a temple, and he would take care of those who take care of you. And then 5 donors paid for the whole thing, and it's about $50 million for the whole shrine. And then that statue looks like when little baby Jesus came alive, he wasn't the same as when he was a statue. So that mother got a replica of what, got somebody to try to print out what it looked like more. So that statue looks like what he looked like when he came alive. And the other statue inside the main church is what the statue looks like over in Bogota. And then on the bottom you have the different writings. A little child shall lead you in the different languages. So the marble all came from Italy. The stained glass windows came from Germany. And Spain did those big doors over there. They had twins who designed them. And then also the rear doors inside the main church is hand carved and gold leafed, and that was all from Spain. And then the English is the people who designed it all was down here.
The architects in
from England?
Architect, no, English. American, right here, Alabama. Rice Company.
And
then on this side,
we're from Germany.
What's that?
Stained glass
windows from Germany. This right here, we have the Stations of the Cross. And then there's a beautiful crucifix over there. You can go look at it later, but it's it represents, we have the top Shroud of Turin down in downstairs in the lower church, and the face is like that, and the cross looks like the Shroud of Turin. And then at the top you see that cross as it's called a tau cross, but when Mother put it up, it was a normal cross, just regular with she came one day, and before it was being finished, and the top was knocked off, clean cut. So it doesn't have any burnt marks, and it was just clean cut, so she couldn't explain it. But it fell and broke some of the tile on the roof. She wasn't happy with that. But she said, I'll put a lightning rod just in case. If God wants it that way, I'll leave it that way. The tau cross later she found out, and she also knew that St. Francis wrote with the tau cross. And then also in Revelation you had the tau cross, but they put on the foreheads of the people.
On the foreheads of the chosen.
Yeah.
And in the doors, you have the 7 joys and the 7 sorrows of the blessed one on the doors. We're not going to, and then the 7 steps are for the 7 sacraments going up into the church. And for you, if you go down to the behind the Jump Out 2 building, behind that other building, there's a grotto down there. You can go down there. And then there's another tour of the Eucharistic building at 2 o'clock this afternoon. And that goes through the history of the Eucharist for John Paul. And then some of the people, the arms look like the church welcoming you.
Yes.
And then the Piazza looks like it's Rome. So if you go to St. Peter's, it looks like that.
So was this all made by hand?
Yep. Lots of stone.
Lots of stone.
These are like pizzas. Pizza for, you ever have a pizza oven? It looks like that. That's what's inside. So we have a problem with frogs. Sometimes they'll come out when they're early in the morning and then fly. Give you a coffee cup? Good for your health. Cola. just for this, give you a little idea, it's in the main church, we can't go and talk in there, we have adoration, and they don't want to make it into a, over in Europe, if you go there, a lot of their churches are turned into museums almost because people just traveling all over. So but we have the nuns are in adoration 24 hours a day. And so they have the big monstrance. The monstrance is about 7.5 feet tall or 8. They went to Spain where they were trying to get it the tallest one, but they wouldn't give us the tallest one because they had the tallest one. But so well, we got the next that down. And so the monstrance is on the top of the rear doors. When you go in a church, you can see all those things. But so the monstrance is on the top, and the host inside is double. So one side for the nuns and one side for the people. And it's a magnifying glass on both sides so that it blows it up. Because it's real tall up, as you see. And then if you inside on the altar you have the pelican. So look at that. And that's when the bird is in, it's dressed out, it can't get food. The mother bird would take its own flesh and feed the little babies. And so the history of the church is always the pelican was back. Also the fish was another sign that they would use. So that's the pelican in front. If you look at the crucifix that's going to be facing the nuns, they have their choir where they do their mass and everything, and that's real on that side. It faces the crucifix right there. And so during morning mass, it's made for the nuns. So 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock is their morning mass, and that's they do the singing and everything. That's their mass, and so the chapel is built for the nuns. So that's why the crucifix is facing over towards the nuns. But also the crucifix is not dead. Most of the church crucifix you see, he's dead on the cross, but this one he has a sword and he's looking up at the monstrance. So we have the Divino Niño and the Blessed Mother side. We just separate the two sides. And then the Divino Niño side, the 4 stained glass windows on this side are the 4 glorious mysteries, except they combine the Assumption and the Coronation together in the last 2 windows. And on the Blessed Mother side is the joyful mysteries. Except Francis, the Franciscan crown, we have the 4th mystery instead of presentation. We have Mary showing Jesus to the adoration of the Magi. So that's the 4th one. And then they also stuck one in there with Joseph and Jesus as a young boy carrying wood, and Mary sitting, and a dog underneath it. So you can meditate on that. And then at the very top, you got windows that are the angels, archangels. And as you look, they're all looking more and more at the monstrance. And then on the other side here, the angels, they're all the archangels, looking more and more at the monstrance. And then we have the God the Father window, Jesus in the monstrance, and then the Holy Spirit. So like Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. And all churches are made to be pointing you to heaven, to be pointing up. And this one's pointing you at the Eucharist because it's all about adoration, but everything is, it's high, building, everything is pointing you to heaven. And then this jasper right here in the cross form, all the marble is from Italy, but the jasper is from Turkey. And they had a Muslim who was wondering where all his jasper was going. So he came out here to see where all that jasper was going. So he was wondering that. And also the baby Jesus, the heart that he's holding out, the statue that's made out of jasper. Pretty much. We also have the confessionals in there, but now we do the drive-through confessions. Since the COVID, they have to do the drive-through confessions out in the parking lot.
So there's no confessions in here?
Not outside because of the COVID stuff. But drive-through at 3 today is 3 o'clock, and then 8 o'clock after our morning mass they have drive-through, and then 3 o'clock.
So after mass today at 12, is there confession?
Not 12. After the 7 o'clock mass, 8 o'clock is confession, and then at 3 o'clock.
Okay, so 7 o'clock.
Yeah. And so we will go into church and let you look around a little bit, and then they should be done with that tour pretty much, and we'll come back up. We're not going to really, you can pray a little bit, but mainly just look around. You come back and do your prayers. Then,
So beautiful, isn't it? Oh, and look at the.
We went to Italy
Oh, you
2
did?
times. We've been all over it.
No pictures.
videos. All the way. So you can meditate on that. Or you need to go down an elevator? No, I'll just go down there. Whatever about you. It's a big elevator where the nuns. So this right here is where the nuns will have the postulate. These are four Clare nuns of Perpetual Adoration. So they are, the four Clares are from 1200s, and then Mother Angelica in the 1854 they started the four Clare nuns of Perpetual Adoration, and they're in France. So they had the mother house in France. Two of the nuns from here went to help the mother house in France. And so when a young woman enters the monastery, she will, they will open the door from the inside. There's no outside handle. And the mother superior in there will open it. And the nuns will have their veils down. And then the young woman will enter into the cloister. And the thing is that she doesn't look back. She's already said goodbye to her family, but the family's out here, but she goes straight in without looking back. It's in the scriptures. But so then she enters, and then she goes cautiously for 1 year, and a bishop for 2 years, and then simple vows for 5 years. Now these are poor Clare nuns of Perpetual Adoration, so they're pontifical. They're under the Holy Father. All new communities go under the bishops, and then you make perpetual vows. But if you're pontifical, you make solemn vows. And so then you if you have to get your vows dispensed or anything, you have to go to the Pope. Or for our community and new communities, you just have to go to the bishop. Much easier. But you have to call the Holy Father to get that. And also Mother Angelica was a poor Clare nun of Perpetual Adoration, cloistered. And so in order to go out preaching and teaching like she did on TV, she had to go to Rome to get permission to do that.
Yes.
So the nuns, they have about 14 in there right now, cloistered nuns. And then in this side over here, we have the parlors. And that's where the families of the nuns can go and visit with their daughters and the immediate family that the nuns can visit. And they have a grill in there. And so the nuns separate, they can shake hands, but they can't get too close. But they do have the grill. The square is about that big.
Right.
My sister used to be a nun, so she knew all about that. So they come, they get a family visit every twice a year.
Twice a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twice a year.
Yeah.
And they go in here. And these are called, just to help your terminology out, so nuns are cloistered, sisters are active, they work with the people. For the monks, like somebody called me a monk, they have monks are cloistered and friars are active, and friars for men's community. So so those are the different terminology. Monks can have priests and brothers, friars can have priests and brothers. Depends on the community.
But the friars can activate.
They're active.
Republic.
Yes.
Yeah, they're active, so they go out preaching. So like the Dominicans, Franciscans, even some Carmelites, they're called friars.
Yes.
Yeah. Very good. You got all
Yes,
that
yeah.
high-tech information? Yeah, I must be. Yeah, if you go on
I like your
Brother
accent.
Leo wrote a book.
Yeah,
You wrote a
two books
book?
for the
Yeah,
kids,
two books.
yeah.
My son John Paul, who's autistic,
Yes.
really related to that book. He knows Brother Leo.
It goes through all the history and everything of the shroud. There was a priest here just a few days ago that talked about how the shroud, this is the negative of it,
Yes.
of the front part. So the shroud is, Jesus was laid on a piece of cloth and it was folded over. So that's the back and this is the front, the negative. And then that's the regular. And so the negative, the face really comes out clear. You're clear on it. And so this priest was saying that they did testing, DNA testing from the shroud part. And it matches with those miracles where the Eucharist became
Yeah, my husband
these past
Different Eucharistic miracles, the DNA of the Eucharistic miracles matches the shroud of Turin.
This right here are patches because of the shroud was in a fire and it was in a silver casing which melted and burned. And the nuns who took care of it, they put these patches here. That's what these.
Oh, that way they cover it.
Oh, that's the holes that's got now.
Yeah.
No. The original is in Italy, dear. It
Yeah.
only comes out every 10 years
So
now.
this
It will
book
be in there, and
explains
we'll
all the
get you a book,
history
yeah.
and everything about it. And in Turin, these are what the nails will look like, the crown of thorns, the whip, and then the sponge.
And Brother Leo, something that I had just learned a couple of years ago, with learning about Sister Faustina, so the Divine Mercy image. So that was made, you're familiar with the painting, and it was made by a non-Catholic. And he had never, ever seen the Shroud of Turin, and like I said, he was non-Catholic, and he did not know about the Shroud of Turin. They said that the dimensions of the Divine Mercy image match are an exact replica of the image of the Shroud of
Yeah,
Turin.
I saw that recently.
And I just learned that, and that just flabbergasted me of how God, that's amazing.
Here as it was being built, she looked at it and said, it looks like a square. So she added another 40 feet to it. So because of that, all that marble is very heavy for these pillars. So it's not really conducive as much for the mass, but they use it for the mass and also for healing services and that. It was used a lot, like the 12 o'clock mass used to always be down here. But because of COVID, they moved up there. So this is what they use it for. And this are where Mother Angelica is built. Like I said, can start being, the canonization process can be start. Now it's 5 years since she died in March 27, 2016. So they can start the canonization process. Now Mother Angelica is here. Her mother became a nun under her over in down in Irondale, Alabama. So they came from Canton, Ohio to start the monastery down in Irondale in 1960 or so.
So her mom, Mother Angelica's mom was a nun?
Sister Mary David became a nun. Her mother became a nun under her. So she had to become a mother. And then these are other sisters. There's 29 different openings for the nuns who died will be buried down here. And but this is Mother
You just
Angelica.
had a
So,
birthday, Mother Angelica.
yeah, so March 27th. So it's 5 years since her death. So now the church says you can start the canonization. You have to wait 5 years. And then you only need 2 miracles. Not
So you can pray now to her for
you can always pray.
for her.
There's all this canon law stuff that we can't push it. Individuals can do that.
Yes.
I don't know if they can make prayer cards, but we can. I don't know if people can or not. But everything has to be done through the church. But then you can always pray.
for her intercession,
But then
because how are
you,
they gonna get the 2 miracles? if
yeah,
that's
but
right?
they also have to,
So they're praying.
you have to prove it, so it can't just be,
Exactly.
you have to have the paperwork saying
From
that
the
you were
doctors,
sick,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then the healing and all that. And then the church has to go through it.
Exactly.
So they use one of a miracle. They sometimes have more miracles. But. So this is where she's buried at.
And so these are different sisters
Yeah,
that
different
have
ones
been
that died.
already with her?
Mother Angelica, Sister Mary David died before, about 4 of them died before they came to this monastery.
Okay, and then they were transferred here.
Yeah, they came up. We had a mausoleum down there, but EWTN really doesn't want our dead bodies next to them. So that's why they moved them. Well, they moved them up here, but we were going to use that mausoleum down there, but then we went to the cemetery. But my brother has a good saying. He says he wants to be cremated. That's the only way he's going to get a smoking hot body. So, but yeah, that's where Mother's been. So you can come down here and pray, whatever, after the tour. So pretty much the tour is over now since we already went in the upper church. But you can go back and pray. We have, the nuns will have their divine office at 11:30. And then the rosary, and then there's 12 o'clock mass is going to be up there at 12 o'clock.
Wonderful.
And then if you want, any of you needed to, the group is bringing food, but they're eating at 1 down in the lower castle. So,
Thank you, Brother Leo.
you're welcome.
John,